Today we've got a short but extremely important video for you guys covering the best ways to manage Tormentors and Boss waves in Onslaught. I've received countless comments about Tormentors ending your guys' runs and bosses spawning on top of you, wasting not only your time, but your chances at the Legend exclusive emblem. So to help with arguably the hardest part of this horde mode, here are my top 3 tips for dealing with Tormentors and Boss waves in Onslaught. I'm above, and if you enjoyed today's video, a like and subscription would be greatly appreciated. Now, let's get into it. First up, we have understanding when boss waves can spawn. As I noted in a previous video, every 5th round is a trip into the pyramid ship, with every 10th round being a boss fight. But what many people don't know is that Tormentors and boss waves can only spawn on rounds that end in 3 or 9, also known as augment rounds. What ends up happening is that most teams are out of position when these bosses appear, or have just used their supers and heavy ammo the wave prior, leaving them with nothing to deal with the Tormentors. So knowing when and where these bosses spawn can help you deal with them much more efficiently and alleviate a ton of frustration that comes with the boss spawning on top of you. This leads me to tip number 2, which is saving your heavy and supers for boss waves. Now that we know when these enemies will spawn, we can save our supers to help make these chaotic situations much more manageable. Keep in mind that Tormentor rounds aren't guaranteed, but can spawn up to 2 times per every 50 waves. In over 1,000 waves of Onslaught, these Tormentor spawns have been capped at 2 rounds total for me, but if you guys have a different experience than this, be sure to let me know down in the comments below. Demolitionists also seem to be a major problem for most teams, but it's crucial to note that these bosses spawn in the exact same location every single time. So for example, this means we can pre-position ourselves at the end of round 12 like we did in this clip, allowing you to insta-kill the bosses and then shift your focus to defending the ADU. The rest of the augments we can get on 3 and 9 waves are much less scary side objectives, such as shielded demolitionists, sky bombers, and deactivating mines. So at the end of rounds 2, 8, 12, and 18, for example, find a position that you like, whether it's on high ground or someplace that will set you up for success during a boss wave. And if you don't happen to get one, you can go about the round as usual. This cubby on Midtown is an amazing spot to sit for Tormentors, as the Shack's decoy below you can draw most of the enemy aggro, and the Tormentor can't actually hit you in here. Simply pop a well, and then tether the ground next to the Tormentor to kill the surrounding enemies with the shared damage that tether provides. For other locations, I highly recommend luring the Tormentor away from the ADU and towards one of your clones, as it will prioritize the clone and buy you guys time to kill it. Which leads me to tip number 3, which is having a Tormentor loadout swap ready to go. A lot of people are using rockets and grenade launchers right now, but they're just not as effective against Tormentors. This enemy type severely penalizes non-precision damage, so using weapons like snipers, hand cannons with lucky pants, and my personal favorite, the Forerunner, can make killing Tormentors significantly easier. You'll notice that when I swap to Forerunner from a sniper in my kinetic slot, I keep a ridiculous amount of ammo because of how deep this weapon's ammo reserves are. As you can see here, I have 26 rounds in my Supremacy before swapping, which converts to 72 shots in Forerunner. Combine this with its high rate of fire and the bonus damage this weapon deals against unshielded targets, and you have the perfect weapon to take Tormentors down. This weapon comes from the 30th anniversary DLC and is extremely accessible to all players, so I highly recommend giving it a try if you haven't already. With all of that said, I'm gonna let a few unedited boss spawns play in the background to showcase how I handled these at each location. Hopefully you found this video useful, and if you did, a like and subscription would be greatly appreciated. I also want to note that I have a highly detailed final shape prep guide coming out for you guys later this week, so whether you're returning to Destiny 2 after an extended break, or have been watching my content for a while now, I've got you guys covered. We also just put out 2 different Onslaught videos last week covering tips and tricks along with my recommended builds and loadouts to help you guys get your Legend Onslaught clears, and both of those videos will be linked down in the description below. Anyways, that's it from me. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll catch you next time. Peace!
Impressive, Guardian. You have an instinct for battle.